Hi, Mountain Park School, whatever grade I'm speaking to right now. Some of you might recognize me. I was a teacher at Mountain Park School last year. My name is Miss Berkey. I'm at a different school now teaching grade 9. But Miss Hunt has asked me to speak to my experience as a former college athlete in the States. I was really fortunate enough to play at an NCAA school as on the women's soccer team. And actually, my husband, who I met there, was a basketball player at the NCAA level as well. So I'm going to speak to my experience and, yeah, kind of speak to them as best as I can. And if you have any questions or want to ask me something, feel free to pass them along to Miss Hunt, and I will try my best to answer them. So one of the first things that happens when you're trying to go to school as a college athlete in the States is the recruitment process. And there's a lot of ways that happens. For me, I went to quite a few recruitment tournaments and was contacted by coaches through that. So I was contacted by my coach at Montana State when I went to a tournament in Las Vegas. So that's one way. Some people will contact the coaches themselves and send highlight reels and things like that. The one thing I would say when you're going through that recruitment process is make sure you have some type of an adult that's helping you, communicate with the coaches and look into the different aspects of the school that you're potentially being recruited by. You need to make sure that you are aware of the costs that it takes to be an athlete in the States. If you're good at what you do and you can get a scholarship to cover the cost, then great. I was really fortunate enough to get that. But as international students, yes, I know we're Canadians, but we're considered international, which means that there are higher costs for us. So usually the tuition will be almost 2 to 3 times higher when you're considered international. You need to consider the travel that it will take to go to your school and come home and visit at Christmas time. That can add up. And if you're wanting, especially in the first year, wanting to come home all the time, it's not always a feasible thing if you're going to school in, let's say Florida or Texas. You should also consider the American dollar. It goes up and down. When I was in school, the American dollar was just a little bit higher than the Canadian, so the cost wasn't drastic. But right now, I think the American dollar is like 25 cents more than the Canadian, which is pretty substantial. Once you are recruited and you're kind of committed to a school, you will have to write the SAT, which is a standardized test. There are prep courses you can take in Calgary, but it's pretty long. I think it's been a while since I wrote it, but I think you have to be there for like 4 hours or something like that. So not the funnest test you will ever write. If you can, before you commit to a school, I would highly recommend going on a recruitment trip and making sure you kind of understand what the culture is for athletes, what the culture of the school is, and make sure that it aligns with what you want as a student athlete, because every school is going to be a little bit different. And if you go in not really liking it to begin with, it won't. I'm sure it'll get worse. So try and go on a recruitment trip if you can. Try to think what else. I took a couple of notes. Really, before becoming a student athlete, try and understand what that means. I think a lot of people see college athletes and see, this glorified picture of it's so much fun and you get to do all these things. But it is that, but the reality is also that it's a job. You're a student and an athlete, so you're different from regular students. You have kind of an outside job from academics. There are really high standards, especially if you're planning on playing NCAA, to make specific grades. And it's not easy when you're doing 2 days or you're waking up at 5 in the morning to work out with your team. You miss a lot of school. There's bus rides, there's plane rides, and you have to find a way to catch up on your academics, and that's not easy as well. So it's not like in school now where it's after school, a bit of a challenge. The last thing I would say to consider as a Canadian wanting to go play in the States is make sure that the degree you want will transfer to Canada, whether that means it'll transfer for a career that you want here or for a degree, specialized degree that you want to get afterwards. So for example, education degrees that you get in the States are actually not recognized in Alberta. So you could get an education degree, go through 4 years of school, and still have to come back to Alberta and complete more school to become a teacher. So be aware of that. Also know if you want to come back here and get a master's or get a medical degree, there are some schools that are not recognized in Canada. So you really need to make sure you do your research and make sure that it's a recognized, accredited school. And there's a lot. There are a lot of universities and colleges in the States, so do your research. Don't think that NCAA is, the end all be all. There are other conferences that you can play your sport in. There's NAIA, there's junior colleges, so look at them all. When I was being recruited, it was like I have to play NCAA or I can't play anywhere else. But there's a lot of opportunity, and it's just a matter of choosing the right fit for you. Choosing what you want as a college athlete, whether that means being on an amazing NCAA Div 1 team or maybe playing on a lower level NAIA team, but playing and being a starter. So yeah, some things to consider. That's kind of all I have to say about my experience. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Get advice from your coaches. They really know a lot about that recruitment process and what needs to be done for you. So, all right. Hope online school went well, and I will see you later. Bye.